One of the great strengths of the Northeast Corridor is that it connects to, or is connected by, 5 very important feeder corridors. As everyone seems to be saying today, the model is changing. We can't rely entirely on federal and state funding for these programs.
Well, Carlyle. Carlyle is what's known in this business as an alternative asset manager. We manage a massive $150 billion of capital for institutions, pension funds, high net worth individuals, endowments, insurance companies, and other money management groups. And they are looking for good long-term investments with superior returns, and they entrust that money to the Carlyle Group, and we're one of maybe 4 leading houses in this area. What I'm trying to tell you is how I would look at this project as someone that might want to invest my investors' money, these insurance companies, pension funds, and the sorts of things which I find either attractive or disturbing. Looking at where all the rail tracks are and where all the people are, and clearly you can identify in our mind 4 areas: the West Coast, Texas, Chicago, and the Northeast Corridor. And that's the one where we think is the most obvious and the most likely to receive capital from the private sector in the short term. Because clearly there is population density in the Northeast Corridor. Travel options to come from DC to New York today were clearly 3. 1, I could fly. Fortunately, Carlyle's generous enough to pay for my ticket, so the cost is we're at somewhere between $150 and $300. We have a corporate rate with Delta, so we benefit from that. And you know, the 3 hours, that's a good day. But 3 hours is in theory. I could go by train, slightly cheaper, but surprisingly not that much cheaper. I mean, you go on the Acela, you are paying, and it's full. And that again is 2 hours, 45 minutes, so we round that up to 3 hours. Or finally, I could have driven, clearly the cheapest. I would be here by now, but it would have been a little bit more stressful than the first 2, particularly more stressful than rail. However, when you go up the corridor, you do in some ways take some risks. Some of these bridges are very, very old, and I'm sure they're well maintained up to all the standards, but to run 200+ mile-an-hour trains, which is what should be done, is a tremendous amount of capital expenditures which are going to be needed. Here is, again, some statistics. Other people may have different ones, but the point here is to say that if you were able to build a true high-speed rail network in the Northeast Corridor, your shift from road and from air into the rail system would be very dramatic. And these statistics seem to estimate that around 50% up from 28% would be the share of rail in the Northeast Corridor. You will not find a private sector willing to come in at the development stage or even at the construction stage, but if you can have, as a financial investor I'm talking about, if you can have the thing built by the private sector and show it can run, I am confident that you will find people like me very, very willing to actually come in and buy. Again, I am a big proponent on having a dedicated line, because that's the way it really should work. It's the way it works in other countries and not an upgrade of the existing line. Number 3, once established, turn to the private sector, as I said, to do the building and keep the project on track through holding the private sector's feet to the fire on the construction of the project.